February 1995. Raleigh, North Carolina. In the dark, FBI agents surround an apartment complex. Moving with the tense precision of a raid they've rehearsed in their heads 100 times. Their target isn't a drug dealer or an armed fugitive. It's a hacker, so infamous that prosecutors have painted him as a walking national security nightmare. A man who could supposedly trigger catastrophe with something as simple as a phone call. Inside the apartment, Kevin Mitnick sits at a keyboard, focused, calm, doing what he's done for years, slipping into systems that were never meant to belong to him. Then the door bursts open. Flashlights flood the room. Shouts, "FBI!" Weapons drawn. In a single instant, the ghost becomes a man. Mitnick raises his hands, heart hammering. Caught. Or maybe, depending on how you look at it, this is where his real story begins. Because the truth about Kevin Mitnick isn't just that he hacked companies. It's how he did it. He didn't start as a genius coder building futuristic malware in a basement. He started as something far more dangerous. A charming kid who understood that the easiest way into any system is through the people who run it. Long before cybersecurity became a household word, a young Kevin learned a simple lesson. Most defenses aren't technical. They're psychological. People trust too easily. They want to be helpful. They assume politeness means honesty. And once you understand that you can break more than machines, you can break expectations. At around 12, he pulls his first real trick, a bus ticket scam. He convinces a bus driver to tell him where to buy a ticket punch machine, claiming it's for a school project. The driver believes him because why wouldn't he? Kevin gets the punch, scavenges blank ticket slips, and rides buses for free. But the point isn't the money. It's the feeling, the quiet thrill of beating a system that assumes you'll play fair. If adults trust a polite kid by default, Kevin learns that's not his problem. That's their weakness. As he gets older, the playground gets bigger. His target shifts from buses to phone lines. He falls in with phone freaks, teenagers fascinated by telephone networks, how they route calls, how they authenticate users, how the whole invisible structure holds together. Kevin adopts a handle, the Condor, inspired by a spy movie, and he treats phone systems like a giant puzzle box. He learns access codes, explores voicemail systems, pranks authority figures, not because he needs to, but because he can. Late one night, he uses borrowed credentials to dial into a phone company switch and reroutes a local FBI agent's home phone to a motel room as a joke. The next time the agent's colleagues call, they don't reach their coworker. They reach a flirtatious motel clerk. In a basement, Kevin and his friends laugh at how easily they can embarrass the mighty FBI. It's reckless, it's addicting, and it raises a question that becomes the backbone of his entire legend. What kind of teenager reroutes an FBI agent's phone line just for fun? And what happens when those jokes stop being funny? Soon, Kevin's curiosity crosses a line that doesn't get laughed off. A teenager walks calmly into a Pacific Bell office in Los Angeles looking like any ordinary trainee, polo shirt, unassuming, blending in perfectly. No one stops him. He moves down a hallway, finds an unlocked door, and casually takes confidential manuals, documents filled with passcodes and technical schematics for the phone company's systems. Then he simply walks out with them tucked under his arm, as if he belongs there. That boldness is the point. The hack isn't a fancy technical breach. It's an exploit of social assumptions. If you look like you're supposed to be there, most places will let you be there. But these manuals don't stay missing for long. Investigators don't have to work too hard to guess which young phone enthusiast might be responsible. In 1981, Mitnick is arrested for the first time. A judge, stunned by his audacity, declares him addicted to computer tampering and sends him to juvenile rehabilitation for a year. This meant to scare him straight, but Kevin doesn't see it as a moral wake-up call. He sees it as getting caught. And if you're addicted to the game, getting caught doesn't always cure the addiction. Sometimes it just teaches you to play smarter. By the late 1980s, Mitnick can't resist a challenge. A dare from fellow hackers points him toward one of the biggest trophies in the tech world, Digital Equipment Corporation, DEC, and a prize development system known as the Arkansas. Cracking it would prove he's elite. And here's the part that defines him. His plan isn't to write brilliant code. It's to pick up the phone. He calls DEC's New Hampshire office and claims to be Anton Chernoff, a well-known DEC engineer. It's a gutsy bluff. The name carries weight, and the person on the other end doesn't know the real voice. Kevin acts frustrated, as if he's a legitimate insider having a legitimate problem. I can't log in from my location. I need a test account. Within minutes, the helpful engineer creates a login. Access granted. No password cracking montage.
No cinematic breakthrough.
Just a human being doing what humans do, trying to help someone who sounds like they belong. Mitnick slips into DC's network through the front door. He shows his hacker friends, and they're impressed and jealous. And that jealousy matters because one of them betrays him, tipping off DC security and the FBI. Suddenly, Mitnick realizes he's been double-crossed. The FBI doesn't arrest him immediately, but they warn his mother. Your son is on our radar. Most people would back off. Mitnick doesn't. By 1988, he's going after bigger trophies, source code, proprietary software, private communications, anything that proves he can reach where he's not supposed to reach. He targets telecommunications and computer companies, rummaging through private emails and copying software, as if corporate vaults are his personal library. One coveted prize is the source code for DC's VMS operating system, which he copies to study vulnerabilities. Another target is Motorola, where, posing as a trusted insider, he convinces an employee to send valuable cell phone source code over the network, essentially stealing the blueprint for new technology. And this is important. The story in the transcript emphasizes he isn't primarily chasing money. He's chasing knowledge, control, and the rush, the same psychological hit he got from that bus ticket scam, just magnified by the scale of the systems he's now touching. Eventually, Mitnick slips up, or someone close to him does. In 1988, FBI agents arrest him on a laundry list of computer crimes, including the DEC intrusion. He pleads guilty to computer and wire fraud. A judge denies him bail, spooked by the legend forming around him. And then comes one of the most infamous claims of the era. A prosecutor argues, absurdly, that Mitnick could whistle into a telephone and launch nuclear missiles via NORAD. Sounds like science fiction. It sounds like a paranoid urban myth. But the court buys it enough to treat him like a high-risk threat. Mitnick is locked in solitary confinement for 8 months while awaiting trial. When he's finally released in 1990 after years. Behind bars, authorities impose strict conditions. No computers, no modems during supervised release. The message is clear: this man's danger is his access. Mitnick walks out vowing to stay out of trouble. But addiction doesn't disappear because you made a vow. 2 years later, the itch returns. He finds a vulnerability in a phone company voicemail system. Pacific Bell again, ironically, and he can't resist. In 1992, he hacks into Pacific Bell's voicemail computers. The moment the FBI hears, they prepare another warrant. This time, Mitnick doesn't wait to be caged. He packs up, slips into the night, and vanishes. From 1992 to 1995, Kevin Mitnick becomes a ghost, eluding an FBI manhunt that spans the country. He hops between cities under false identities, renting cheap apartments, paying in cash, blending into ordinary life. By day, he's Eric Weiss, a polite IT assistant at a law firm in Denver. By night, he's still logging into systems he shouldn't. His face is on wanted posters, yet he hides in plain sight. And he keeps hacking. Telecom companies, software firms, even parts of the US government. He copies proprietary source code from companies like Sun Microsystems, Nokia, Motorola, and more. He listens in on private email correspondence. He steals password files. Each intrusion leaves IT administrators baffled. Who is breaching systems and disappearing without a trace? The FBI is embarrassed. This is one person making them look foolish. So how does he stay ahead? The transcript paints a toolkit that's almost spy movie in its creativity. Mitnick clones cellular phones, reprogramming cheap handsets with legitimate subscriber numbers so calls can't be traced back to him. He uses burner phones. Before the term becomes mainstream, using one briefly, then discarding it. He uses radio scanners to monitor law enforcement frequencies. And then he pulls off the ultimate reversal. He wiretaps the investigators hunting him. Yes, he listens to FBI agents' calls and even their voicemails. He learns their names, their home addresses, their routines. As one friend later puts it, Kevin can hear the footsteps of people trying to sneak up on him. If the FBI plans a raid, he often knows hours before they arrive. By late 1994, he is the FBI's ultimate ghost. A polite nobody in public, an invisible intruder online. The Department of Justice calls him the most wanted computer criminal in U.S. history. He becomes a boogeyman, sometimes blamed for hacks he may not have committed. His myth grows bigger than the man. Hackers begin rallying around him. Free Kevin campaigns spread. Websites get defaced with demands for his release, as if he's a digital folk hero. The legend inflates, feeding on itself. And there's a dangerous pattern when legends grow. The person at the center often starts believing they're untouchable. Mitnick gets reckless. A ghost can only haunt the wires so long before someone sets a trap smart enough to catch him. That trap arrives on Christmas Day, 1994. While most people are unwrapping gifts, Mitnick unwraps a new target. He has been probing an internet service provider in San Diego and stumbles onto a connection to a prominent computer security expert, Tsutomu Shimomura. To Mitnick, Shimomura isn't a person. He's a system, one that likely holds cutting-edge security research and valuable personal files. So Mitnick breaks in. He copies sensitive files as trophies. He may even leave a calling card, as the transcript suggests was his style. For Mitnick, it's just another hack. For Shimomura, it's personal. Shimomura returns from vacation to find his system violated. This isn't a faceless corporation. This is his home turf, his work, his reputation, his pride. And he's furious. The hacker didn't just break into a machine. He broke into the life of someone who knows exactly what that violation means. This time, the hacker hacked the wrong guy. Shimomura contacts the FBI and offers something the Bureau desperately needs. A hacker hunter who thinks like a hacker. What follows is a transcontinental manhunt, pairing federal agents with a technically elite tracker who can interpret the breadcrumbs Mitnick leaves behind. Shimomura combs logs, traces the intruder's fingerprints, and identifies that Mitnick is operating through a cellular connection in the Raleigh, North Carolina area, half a country away. But finally, a real lead. The FBI mobilizes a tactical team to Raleigh. The plan is almost old school in its physicality. Use radio direction finding equipment to pinpoint the unique signal from Mitnick's cloned phone whenever he connects to the internet. Agents drive around in vans with special antennas, literally hunting an invisible wireless ghost. By February 1995, the net tightens. Shimomura and the FBI study Mitnick's routine. Late at night, often around 11 p.m., a certain unregistered phone number lights up the cellular network. That's their cue. Mitnick is online, likely launching another intrusion. On February 15, 1995, they get the hit. The direction-finding vans triangulate the signal to an apartment complex in Raleigh. Now they're down to a specific building. Shimomura waits anxiously. Will Mitnick sense something? His scanners might warn him. His instincts might save him. But no alarm comes. Inside, Mitnick is busy at his screen, unaware that the hunt has reached his doorstep. Just after midnight, the tactical team moves down the hallway toward apartment 202. An agent signals. 3 to 1. They ram the door. FBI, get down. The door flies open. Mitnick is there at his computer, startled, frozen in the harsh light. For an instant, the myth collapses into a human moment. A man realizing the chase is over. He raises his hands as agents swarm him. It is 1:30 a.m. on February 15, 1995, when the Condor is finally caged, ending a 2.5-year pursuit. Agents find bins of technology, Cell phones, hard drives, fake IDs, the tools of a life built on slipping between identities. Mitnick, 31 and slightly bewildered, is taken into custody on a raft of charges. Outside, Shimomura exhales. He won the duel. But for Mitnick, the bigger battle is just beginning, the battle over his legacy and the legend that grew around him. Because the capture doesn't end the story. It ignites controversy. Hackers worldwide rally again to free Kevin. To his supporters, the government has exaggerated him, turning curiosity into villainy. To them, Mitnick isn't a monster. He's proof that systems are insecure and that the human element is the weak link. The FBI, on the other hand, trumpets his arrest as a major victory against cybercrime. Officials call him the most dangerous hacker in America and argue that if he isn't punished harshly, others will follow. In 1999, Mitnick accepts a plea deal. He pleads guilty to multiple counts of wire and computer fraud and is sentenced to 46 months in prison, on top of the years he already spent in pretrial detention. Altogether, he serves about 5 years behind bars. And when he's released, the court bans him from touching any computer or cell phone for 3 additional years. Imagine that, the world's most famous hacker forbidden from using the internet during the dot-com era. The transcript compares it to telling Michelangelo he can't touch a paintbrush. Mitnick later jokes it's the hardest part of his punishment. But he obeys. And then something shifts. Over time, fear begins to give way to insight. In March 2000, Mitnick speaks at a Senate hearing and explains openly how he did what he did. His point is simple and devastating. The human element is the weakest link. You can build firewalls and encryption, but if a skilled con artist can talk an insider into handing over the key, those defenses mean nothing. Mitnick admits, almost with pride, that he often didn't need to break high-tech systems when he could simply persuade someone to open the door. Companies take notes. The damage he caused forces the cybersecurity field to mature. Organizations invest in security awareness training, teaching employees not to fall for the exact tricks Mitnick used: impersonation, urgency, trust exploitation, authority mimicry. His case becomes a cautionary tale, but also a lesson plan. And then comes the final twist worthy of a movie. After his release, Mitnick transforms from outlaw to advisor. He writes best-selling books about his life, Ghost in the Wires and the Art of Deception, and becomes a legitimate security consultant, helping companies find weaknesses by thinking like the attacker. The fox becomes the guard of the henhouse, using the same instincts that once got him arrested to help others protect themselves. He even gains enough credibility to testify alongside law enforcement experts, warning Congress about emerging cyber threats. The once infamous Condor becomes a respected white-hat figure, proof that skill can be redirected, and that understanding attackers sometimes requires listening to one. But the story refuses to end on comfort, because the transcript closes with a modern warning. Mitnick manipulated people, not machines. He exploited trust. He exploited assumptions. But what happens today, when hackers no longer need your trust? Only your data. If someone followed in Mitnick's footsteps now, in a world of constant connectivity, leaked databases and stolen sessions, would we even see it coming? Or would the next generation of attackers skip the phone call, skip the charm, and simply buy what they need: identities, accounts, access, like products on an underground marketplace? To understand where cybercrime is heading, the question isn't just who's the next Mitnick. It's something colder. What happens when the legend isn't a person anymore, but a system?